Guys, Trucker Chris here, and as I mentioned a long time ago, promise y'all a video update. This one's going to be a little different though, because things have changed since I promised that video update. So stick around and find out more. Alright guys, so as you heard in the title, we're going to be talking about a few things. First and foremost, I want to apologize about not making videos lately. Been really wanting to make them, but was in a pretty bad slump there for a while. Was in a pretty depressive state there for a long while. Pretty much didn't want to do anything, wanted to be left alone. I quit driving trucks for almost a year straight. I was doing like Amazon, Uber, stuff like that to make some income, and unfortunately gained a little bit of weight while sitting on my depressive state, so finally working that back off, thank God. So we'll see how well that works. Was kind of thinking about making some weight loss videos, not like, check me out, but more like to keep myself accountable, making type of videos, that if I have you guys to show proof to keep my ass accountable, because Lord knows I'll choose McDonald's over a healthy meal in a heartbeat. So, but yeah, let me know if y'all want to see stuff like that, see cooking videos, stuff like that. So just let me know. But as you can tell, I'm sitting in a sleeper, which means I'm back in a truck, doing a lot better now. And so here I am. Unfortunately, the truck that I'm sitting in is not a CFI truck. Well, actually, I say unfortunately, I mean fortunately. I'm not sitting in a CFI truck, thank God. So there was a whole debacle on that. I was originally going to go back to work for Crete, and the only route they had for me was a Texas only route, and I really don't want to stay in just Texas. I kind of want to move around. Kind of want to move around. At least want to get to a few different states besides just Texas. So that's where I figured I don't want to be on a Texas only. So I looked at a couple different companies. I looked at National, was it National Carriers? I think is what it is. And they had a decent pet policy up until they told me I'd have to declaw my cat to let her ride with me, which is a big hell no. I'm not doing that to my cat. So took those guys off my list. I checked out Swift, and the only reason I was going to do Swift was because they had a decent dedicated route coming out of Austin that would basically send me to like Oklahoma, maybe Arkansas, a few other states around there, and I was okay with it, but somehow things fell through on their end, and they just told me, hey, we're not going to hire you, which, okay, not a problem. I don't really give a crap. I'm not going to cry over that. So so there landed CFI, and they were willing to hire me. They got me a rental car. So where the story time part begins, I was promised I was going to get at least 54 cents a mile, which is definitely low for an experienced driver, but they promised me 54 cents a mile. They promised me a newer-ish truck, which I know that's a promise that can't always be given. I was told they had a great pet policy, no issues with the pet, they didn't charge for it, so I was like, cool, that's awesome. And I was just promised a whole plethora of things, which of course, Mr. Chris, who usually does his due diligence and research, did not, and that's why I'm not sitting in a CFI truck. So what ended up happening was I got my rental car, I drove to Joplin, I got to the hotel, and got the room, passed out the second I got there. I was exhausted. Got up for orientation in the morning, and I drove my rental car over there, and during orientation is paperwork time, and so we're going through all the paperwork, and as I'm looking through everything, I find my pay, and was originally supposed to be 54 cents a mile is 50 cents a mile. So one, I'm a little pissed off already at that, but I figure, maybe I could talk to recruiting or talk to whoever does the pay, and see if I get it bumped up. Because I know payroll is pretty much just going to be like, oh, whatever. And I figured maybe it was a mess up, a foo bar between recruiting to orientation or whatever. And so I talked to the orientation director, and he goes, sorry, man, that's what your pay is. Because we can't verify all your experience, which is kind of like, how can you not verify my experience? Been driving trucks for a long freaking time. I could kind of understand, when I drove bobtailed, dump trucks, stuff like that. That's not tractor trailer, and a lot of places won't take that as a tractor trailer experience. But driving day cabs, driving local jobs, some will take it, some won't. I've had plenty of companies, including Crete, that took it and paid me for my experience for it. So was a little pissed off about that. And then the whole orientation class is over, and they send us back to the hotel. Well, we have that massive snowstorm that comes in, so we're being told, hey, we're not coming back to the office, the company's shutting down. And when they said the company's shutting down, what they mean is in a zone or a grid, basically that whole area is shut down to where nothing company can happen. No company trucks are allowed to be on the road, company cars, company anything. And so they told us we're just going to do the rest of the orientation at the hotel. So we're doing it at the hotel, and they're going over everything. And somebody had asked, hey, so when can I go pick my dog up? And the recruiting director goes, what do you mean? You're not allowed to have pets here. We have a zero tolerance pet policy. If you get caught, you'll be fired. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I was told by the recruiter you have a pet policy, and CFI has always been known to have an amazing pet policy. Well, the recruiter goes, since Heartland bought us out, they dropped our pet policy. I didn't know Heartland bought out CFI. Had I known that, I wouldn't even waste my time. Which, of course, should have done my research. So, found that out, and I was already having sour taste in my mouth, just mainly because of the way things are going to begin with. So, Wednesday, we're done with orientation. We did like half a day, and we're told, hey, just relax. You'll probably be here till Friday, just because of the snowstorm. So I decided Wednesday afternoon I was going to walk over to the I think it's Shop for Less or Save for Less, whatever it is. And I picked up some food there because I was like, well, I'm going to be here a couple of days. I might as well, get some lunch meat and something to cook in the microwave tonight. Well, Thursday morning comes around, we get a phone call. Hey, where are you? What do you mean, where am I? I'm sitting in the hotel room. Why aren't you up here? Why aren't your bags packed? Why aren't you sitting up here waiting for the van? Nobody told us we were going anywhere on Thursday. Nobody said anything. Nobody gave us our truck numbers, where our trucks were, none of that. We need to get up here. You're heading to go pick up your truck. Okay, cool. Let me pack my stuff up then, I guess. So I get everything packed up. I head up there, and I'm being told, hey, you're going to ride in a van with I think it's 15 or 16 other people, and we're going to have a driver drive you up there. And so, still don't know where the hell I'm going. Finally, I go, where am I going? What's my truck number? Well, you didn't write that down yesterday? Nobody told us anything. Nobody said crap. And of course, by this time, I'm just frustrated and pissed off to no end. So I had pretty much made a mental decision at that point that I'm not staying, unless there is some magical miracle thing that happens on the road that's going to work out really well, And I figured if I ended up staying, I was going to take my cat with me, and if they fired me over, whatever. Which, thankfully, I didn't have to take Samantha with me because I wasn't there but like a week and a half. So, get to Alvarado, pick my truck up, and it has nothing in it. So I go to the shop, get a mattress for my truck, and I ask for push broom, load locks, and straps. And the shop in Alvarado, which this is how I found out that Millis Transfer was bought out by Heartland, they don't have any of that. And so I call main office, and I'm like, hey, by the way, they don't have push brooms, load locks, or straps. Well, why didn't you take them when you were at the Joplin area? You should pick them up there and put them all in the van. We got 14 people in the van. What are we going to do with 140 or 40 load locks? Like, what the hell, So I'm just kind of like, either this company is so screwy or they just want you to bend to every little thing they say, which CFI has a lot of student drivers. So I'm pretty sure they get away with a lot of crap like that where they can pretty much tell drivers this is how it is, get over it. And a lot of them just kind of whatever. So I just kind of whatever. I've got straps because I've always carried straps with me. I've actually got a big ass container that's probably got 20 straps in there at least. So I just tell them, hey, I'm ready for a load. Let's go. They give me a load that picks up in like just south of Dallas, heading to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And it was nice and chilly outside, so I pretty much just drove with the AC on, and you'll understand the quotations here in a second. Drove with the AC on, got to Las Cruces, dropped the load off, and it started getting a little warm. Turned the AC on to find out the AC didn't work. And I was told by the shop, everything works. We checked everything out, your AC, heater, all that stuff works. Well, apparently they didn't check good enough because my AC did not work. So I called breakdown. I was like, hey, just to let you know, AC is not working. Is there any way I can take it to get it fixed? So they tell me to go to the nearest either TA or Love's and have them change the filters out because that will guarantee that it will fix it. Never heard that before. So take it to the TA in Las Cruces. I'm told by them it'll be at least a day before we can even get to it because our AC guy has gone home for the day. Hell, changing an air filter has anything to do with AC, whatever. So I call them again. They say there's a Love's in El Paso. Just head down there, have them do it. Get over there, and the guy at the Love's is looking at it, and he goes, your air filters are brand new. So I don't know if it was his apprentice or his coworker or what, had told me to start the truck up, and he wanted to see if the compressor clutch turned, which it didn't. So he grabs a hold of it as it's running, and it's just locked up, won't spin. So I call breakdown again. Hey, the compressor's not turning at all. It's locked up. Okay, well, have them change the air filters because that'll probably fix it. What are you talking about? Like, what the hell? And so I tell the guy, look, company wants you to replace the air filters before they'll let me move any further with this. So he sends in a work order, and la-ti-da, CFI rejects the work order. Doesn't need to be done. Air filters in it. So I call breakdown again, and I tell them, and they go, change the air filters. Just sent a work order, and she goes, yeah, well, he didn't do it correctly. It doesn't need to be done. What? So this all started like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it is now about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I am sweating like a $2 whore in church, So I'm going back and forth with breakdown. Finally, I tell the guy at the Lowe's, I was like, can you please put it in one more time and write down on the work order that was requested to be done for a warranty issue. And so they send it in. Finally, they approve it after the 4th time of sending it in. So, of course, doesn't fix the issue. And it is now like, I want to say 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So breakdown has gone home for the day. So nobody at CFI is going to answer. Apparently, everybody goes home at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, no matter what they do, with the exception of dispatchers. So I call MHC breakdown, and I let them know what's going on. The lady goes, there is a MHC shop in El Paso. Take it down there, and we'll get it in there. And if you need a hotel room, let us know, and we'll push CFI, and we'll get them to get you a hotel room. She goes, because I think it's ridiculous at this point that you've been dealing with this. Well, it's about 7 at that time. So I get down to MHC. I talk to them. Luckily, they have the part in stock, and the guy tells me, we ain't got nothing in the shop, so, we'll get it in here, get it fixed for you real quick. Takes them about 4 hours. They get it done. It's probably 1:30 in the morning. Luckily, they let me crash out in their parking lot in the truck. And I set my PTA once I get in the truck to, I figured with it being 1 o'clock in the morning, I was going to be good around 6 or 7, Was super exhausted. So I set it for 7:30, and I get a phone call at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Hey, why haven't you accepted the load yet? Well, because I'm sleeping. That's probably why. Okay, well, you need to get up and do the load. No, I'm not getting up. I'm freaking exhausted. I just went to bed about 3 hours ago. I'm not going anywhere. Ensues a whole argument about how I need to get up and start doing my job. So I hang up. I was like, I'm not doing this. Go screw yourself. So later on that day, my dispatcher calls me and says, hey, we got the load on you. When are you going to pick it up? I was like, well, it's 8:30 in the morning. I'm getting ready to roll right now. And I had to go pick the load up. And it picks up in El Paso. And it goes to Dallas. So I run that load. And as I'm sitting in Dallas, they send me another load. Hey, can you pick this one up? It goes from here to San Antonio. And it's a T-Force load, UPS. And so I tell them I can take the load, but I can't pick it up at the time requested. If I pick it at the time requested, I won't have the hours to drop it off. Well, they kept telling me, well, go ahead and pick the load up and just drop it off when you can. So I pick it up, and I told them, hey, I'll do a split sleeper. I could probably be down there 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, drop this load off. Well, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a phone call from my dispatcher who goes, so why are you just sitting around? What do you mean, dude? Like, do y'all not communicate here at all? He goes, well, you picked the load up, but you're not moving. You've got plenty of hours to run down there. Got plenty on my 70, but I've got about 45 minutes left on my drive time. You tell me I'm going to make it to San Antonio during 5 o'clock rush hour through not only Dallas, but Austin and San Antonio. Not happening at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm sitting here arguing with the dispatcher, and his last words that came out of his mouth before I hung up on him was, great, now I'm going to have to tell him how one of our dumb drivers has failed another load for him, and then click. It's like, all right, cool. I'm done, So called my buddy Joe, which y'all probably heard me talk about him a lot. And I talked to him. I was like, hey, what would you do in this situation? He goes, dude, fuck him, leave, because I would have left the second I was told what the pay was. And so I was talking to him. I was like, well, I'm not going to abandon the truck at a truck stop. I'm definitely not going to abandon the truck when it has a load under it, because that's two whole issues right there. It's truck abandonment and load abandonment. So I told him, I was like, if anything, I'll run down to San Antonio, I'll do the load, I'll drop it off, and then maybe you could meet me up in Alvarado and I'll drop the truck off there. Well, I called dispatch, and it's now the weekend, so the only dispatch I'm getting is night dispatch, which we were told in orientation to not call night or weekend dispatch because they have a skeleton crew. We're going to waste our time by calling. So I tried calling, me being the asshole I am, and I'll get an answer. So I send in a message, hey, I'm resigning my position effective immediately. Please let me know what you want me to do with the equipment. And at this point, I wasn't going to move the truck until I got an answer. And the only reason why is because a lot of companies, what they'll do, if you're quitting a position or whatever, they'll give you what's called a ghost dispatch. And what that pretty much does is it ensures that the truck and trailer and you are all insured. So God forbid you go down the road, you have an accident, and none of that's insured. It all falls onto this guy, and I'm not doing that. So I was waiting for a response, didn't hear a response over the weekend, and come Monday morning, I get a phone call from my dispatcher going, so why are you quitting? You've barely been here. I was like, well, a few reasons. The bullshit with breakdown, the bullshit at orientation with my pay that's supposed to not be 50 cents a mile, it's supposed to be at least 54, and you. Those are all the reason I'm quitting. So please let me know what you want me to do with the truck. You need to take it to Joplin. I'm not taking it to Joplin. Because well, if you don't take it to Joplin, it's going to be $500 in load and equipment abandonment. No, it's not. Good try though. It won't be equipment abandonment. Y'all can say what you want about the whole $500 BS. Take it out of my check. I don't give a shit. So I'm going back and forth on arguing with him, and finally I tell him I'm taking it to Alvarado, so please dispatch me to Alvarado. If that's a problem, I don't think I really care. So I take the truck to Alvarado after they ghost dispatch me. I get it down there, and I take pictures. I leave the keys in the center console with the enforcer lock, and I leave it in perfect condition. I swept the inside of it out. I didn't even smoke in the truck once because I didn't want it to I didn't want them to complain about smelling like cigarettes. So made sure it was nice and tidy, pulled all my trash out, took everything out of my truck so it looked like nobody'd ever driven. And I get a phone call again Tuesday morning. Where's our truck? It's sitting at the yard where I left it. It's not up there. They said they looked for it. They can't find it. Well, that's cool because it's parked between this truck number and this truck number, sitting in the back right in front of the shop. And I've got pictures proving that it's there. I sent a message on the Qualcomm, let y'all know where I parked it. On top of that, I'm sure y'all could GPS exactly where it's at. And from that point, I heard, all right, click. Have not heard anything back from them. That by far was the worst week and a half of my life ever dealing with that crap, and it almost pushed me to the point where I was like, I'm not going back to trucking. If this is what I look forward to, I'm done, So I looked around at a few different companies. I checked out Climate Express, which things were looking really good there. I have no problem hauling reefer, have never had an issue with it, and I really was kind of excited to go there. And they had a really good pet policy, $500 pet policy. So, I mean, if I got to pay a deposit, I got to pay a deposit. I really don't care. I think that's only fair if I'm going to have a pet on your truck. The day before I was scheduled to do my physical, I get a phone call saying, hey, we have a problem. And I'm thinking, oh shit, something popped up on a drug test or whatever. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, the hell could it be? Because I don't do drugs. Now, of course, when you hear that we got a problem, your mind starts racing and it goes through every little nook and cranny that could be wrong, And I get told we had a driver who came in here, who quit, who had cat litter thrown all over the inside of his truck. It smells like cat piss in there. He did not take care of his cat in the truck, and so therefore the company is no longer allowing cats in the truck. Cool. Well, that really does suck because that was one of the biggest reasons I was coming to work there. And I will not come to work there if you won't allow my cat. And I know some of y'all might see that as being ridiculous, whatever, but my cat is like a kid to me, and I love that little girl a lot. And so, yeah, that girl is coming out on the road with me. So if it hinges on me not going to work somewhere because I can't take my animal, I got a problem. So I kept calling around, and I found a few different companies, and I ended up landing on Trucks For You, which is where I'm at right now. And yeah, that's where I'm sitting. So far liking it. I love it so far. So the whole CFI video and me posting a video about that, consider that this video. It was a roller coaster, and I will say this: don't go work for CFI. Don't do it. I kind of understand if you're a brand new driver, you just got your CDL and you need some experience, but man, I think you'd be better off working for JB Hunt or Swift versus CFI. I have never met a more dysfunctional and group of people who just don't either care about their drivers or just don't give a shit. So I would stay as far away as possible as you can from them. Heartland and Millis Transfer, all those together, it's all going to be the same BS because it's all ran by Heartland. Heartland dispatchers are pretty much taking over the whole entire thing, so it's becoming just Heartless Trucking with different names is all it is. And you could actually see on the road that some trucks are pulling Millis, CFI, and Heartland trailers. CFI trailers, trucks will pull them, Millis will pull them, stuff like that. So it's a crapshoot, and you might go work there and get a great dispatcher, but that's any company, I've had great dispatchers at the worst jobs ever, and I've had shitty dispatchers at the best jobs ever. I had probably one of my favorite dispatchers working for Crete. And of course, one of my worst dispatchers doesn't work there anymore because of the crap he was pulling. So, company-wise though, they suck. So I would not, just steer away, dude, really seriously. But that being said, good to see you guys again. Definitely look forward to making some more videos. And I will probably actually be posting a video about the company that I'm at now. Probably post that here in a couple days or so, actually. Let y'all kind of know what's going on with what I'm here, what I'm doing here, what I'm here. Yeah. Brain's not working, as you can tell. I'm freaking exhausted. So, let y'all know what I am doing here. There, now I can English, and how things are going, stuff like that. So, stick around for that one. But until then, see you guys on the next one. Peace out.